90% of our trade with the EU subject to new tariffs. They're saying that would mean 20% in extra costs for the UK's food and drinks industry and 10% extra for car producers. They say we respect the result of the referendum. They're not asking for another referendum, God forbid, but they say the government must make sure that the terms of the deal are in place to ensure stability, prosperity and improving living standards. Every credible study, they say, that has been conducted has shown that the World Trade Organization option would do serious and lasting damage to the UK economy and those of our trading partners. Give me a ring. Should we be listening to these people? 0345 6060973. Effectively, my understanding, I'm going to talk to a couple of experts in a minute who will help us get our heads around this a bit more, is that if we go for a softer exit, so for instance we have access to the single market, but we won't necessarily have all of the abilities to restrict our inward EU migration, that might not be terribly popular. Would you like that? 0345 6060973 is the number to ring. Text me as always on 84850, tweet at LBC and get in touch with me. We've got between now and 7 to get to the bottom of this. George Parker is the political editor at the Financial Times. Good evening, George.
Good evening.
Have I sort of done a fairly decent job of explaining the difference between a hard and a soft Brexit, or can you do that for me, please?
I think you've done a decently good job on it, actually. You're right. I mean, we use shorthand terms of hard Brexit and soft Brexit to try and describe it. But what we're really describing is the choice that Theresa May has to make is a trade-off, if you like, between controlling our borders and restricting immigration from the EU and keeping the borders open for trade. Our European partners say if you're going to restrict movement for people, we're going to restrict movement for your trade, and that's the trade-off she has to make. And the business leaders you've been talking about they want to put the emphasis much more on the free movement of goods and services. And of course they like it as much as possible to keep the borders open for people as well, because getting the best talent into this country is also good for business.
So given what we heard this week from Theresa May at the Tory Party conference, do you get the feeling that, as the political editor of the Financial Times, you're perfectly positioned to answer this question, do businesses feel that she's on side with them at the moment, or not?
No, the opposite. They feel that she's not listening to them, and they listened to what she said in her speech on Sunday at the Tory conference, where she suggested that her priority was controlling immigration and made it clear that she planned to leave the single market, and that's a tariff border-free area which has 500 million consumers, the richest consumers in the world. They make up 44% of our export market. So if we start to put up any barriers between Britain and that market, that's obviously going to be bad for business. So they're worried about that. But then it was the whole tone of the conference. It wasn't just the specific announcements, but it was, Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary, saying she wanted to flush out companies which employed foreigners and suggested they might have to list the number of foreigners they had. And then Theresa May in her second speech of the week, where she went on about sort of global capitalism and the international elite and people who consider themselves to be citizens of the world not being citizens of anywhere. For Britain's business leaders, who probably do consider themselves to be citizens of the world and patriotic at the same time, that was a very negative message.
So do you think this letter that we're seeing today is a kind of panicked reaction from business, or do you think they should be genuinely concerned?
No, I think they should be genuinely concerned, and it's been building for a while actually, since Theresa May became Prime Minister. She viewed with some suspicion the way that David Cameron and his government had treated business. David Cameron had his own business advisory group who'd come in for cosy chats in Number 10. Well, she scrapped that. That was one of the first things she did. She didn't trust the way the Treasury dealt with business, and she wants to have a much more arm's length relationship with business. Her concern at the moment seems to be the 52% of people who voted for Brexit, and that's understandable enough. But in the end, those people also rely on a flourishing business sector, and a business sector which is able to export to our biggest market.
Well, what's the Financial Times' position on this? How are you going to present the upcoming negotiations, our route towards Brexit? What's your position on this?
Well, the Financial Times has been criticised by some for fighting the last war and sort of not accepting the result of the referendum. We do accept the result of the referendum, and I think the FT has an obligation, and we're meeting it, I think, to sort of try and come up with constructive solutions to make the best of it. I think we also have to recognise that business has made a bit of a rod for its own back by some of the things that it's been doing over the last few years. The tax avoidance by multinationals, executives being paid far too much money. Capitalism has to look after itself, and I think the FT will be a critical friend to business in that respect. But on the other hand, got to look after our own interests, Britain's own interests, and that means having businesses which are able to export and compete in the world markets. And the way things are shaping up at the moment, I think there's quite a lot of grounds for concern. And, you know, if you look at the way that the pound has been behaving this week, the sort of very sharp drop over the last 7 days, that's a reflection of the fact that the world's financial markets, people with money, investing money, don't see Britain as such a good place to put their money at the moment, and that's a worrying sign.
Okay, thank you, George. That was George Parker there, political editor at the Financial Times, talking about that sharp pound drop this week. We can talk to Mike Cherry now, who's the chair of the National Federation of Small Business. Evening, Mike.
Good evening.
First of all, can I just get your response to the position of the pound in relation to the dollar at the moment? As the chair of the National Federation of Small Business, is that extremely worrying for you?
Well, I think it's worrying for everybody, and let's be under no misillusion that after the referendum result, there was going to be an inevitable drop in sterling. I think what we've seen in this last week is a steeper drop than most people were expecting, and it is a problem for many businesses who are going to be importing raw materials or goods and produce, because clearly those are denominated mainly in dollars or in euros or in other currencies, and that means there's going to be quite a steep rise coming through, because businesses have probably run out of the time that they've hedged forward on the pound, and small businesses, obviously our members, struggle to make sure that they can cover the pound in any way forward. And I think that's going to lead to price increases, and it's going to affect inflation. On the other side of that coin, though, if we look back at the FSB's latest quarterly survey, it's very clear that it is the domestic economy that is causing headwinds at the moment. 2/3 nearly of our members say that that is the problem area, and yet on the other side they're taking on more people and more businesses are exporting, so there's some advantages there with that drop in sterling.
Because of course if you are an export business in this country, you benefit from that weak pound, don't you, because foreigners basically want to buy more of what you're selling. So it's not all bad news, that is it.
You've got to persuade them that they do want to buy more goods and products and services, of course. But no, it should be a great opportunity if we can then grasp this as an opportunity. And we just need to be making sure that the government can make things easier for small businesses. And I think it was encouraging that the FSB was invited to the first round table the Prime Minister held, which was on small business issues. And we've been inputting very heavily into senior ministers on what our members will be asking for as these negotiations take place.
Do you find, Mike, that are you encouraged, because I keep hearing from lots of people who are describing Theresa May as a listener. You've just mentioned that that you as from the FSB were invited to. I'm speaking to a lot of people that I know who are saying she's actually speaking to the right people. She's listening to what you've got to say. Are you encouraged by that?
I think we're encouraged by all the ministerial meetings that FSB have had since the referendum result, where we are clearly putting our members' views forward. So obviously the first one is around as much open access to the European markets as possible, to the EU, but also there's this problem that we have, that we need to have the right labour for our members and small businesses in particular to be able to carry out their jobs. And I think this is going to be the conundrum that we're faced with. Europe at the moment is saying, well, you can't have one without the other. That is to be negotiated, and it's clear for exporters, certainly most of our members collectively will be exporting to the EU, but when you split our latest survey down, very apparent that actually it's North America and some of the emerging markets are also very important markets for them.
A small business relies very heavily, doesn't it, on the foreign workers, as you say, and if we don't have access to that single market, the workers within it, you're going to struggle, aren't you, to find the workers, is what I'm saying, for some small businesses.
I mean, clearly many businesses, small and large, do employ EU workers or non-EU workers. Some of that is down to sectors, some of that is down to seasonal requirements, particularly the agricultural feed just need to be making sure that where a business has a vacancy, they can fill that vacancy with the right person. Now, clearly, these are part of the negotiations the government is going to have to undertake, and we will know the outcome almost when that is completed. And that leads to a problem around clarity, obviously, at this present moment in time.
Okay, so looking to the future, Mike, our financial stability in this country with Brexit, as we know, spring of next year, Theresa May is going to trigger Article 50. Are you confident about the economic situation in this country or not?
Our survey very clearly shows at the moment that confidence is at its lowest level for the last 4 years. It's in negative territory, but that is down to domestic economic factors rather than Brexit at this moment in time. We haven't surveyed our members in detail, and that will be coming out in January after we've done our next.
Know about, and that is because obviously she can't give away, can she? Theresa May can't give away what she's going to ask for. Account, which could be just about anything as long as you stay in a single market. That occurs. Those two polarised opinions are occurring both within the Tory party and outside of it, where just took it for a test drive and got £500 off straight away. Can you believe it? Right. That explains the tiara. Yes, a bit looking. And get more at Vauxhall. Our test drive offer.
New customers only qualifying criteria apply. Underwritten by UK Insurance Limited. This
Cufflink Bridging offers bridging loans starting from 30. About your exams, your holiday, your girlfriends, and likes your photos. Maybe that don't, maybe you.
get more Cheltenham even
your mum can handle with Talk Mobile's great SIM-only deal. 2,500 minutes, 5,000 texts, 15 gig of data, all for only £15 a month on a 30-day contract. For straightforward value, go to talkmobile.co.uk.
Offer ends 31st of October, UK use. Course standard UK mobiles and landlines. Credit check applies. Go to talkmobile.co.uk.
Q the big sale at Network Q. The best place for approved used Vauxhalls. Q the finance with 7.9% APR representative. Q the savings with a big £500 deposit contribution. And Q the extras with 1 year roadside assistance and 1 year warranty on every vehicle. Q the big sale at your local Network Q retailer between the 7th and 17th of October.
Personal contract purchase. Finance subject to status. 18 plus T's and C's apply. Finance provided by Vauxhall Finance. Available on selected models at participating retailers.
Beverly Turner on LBC.
Good evening, this is Bev with you until 8 o'clock. We're discussing the options that might be available to us if we were to do a hard or a soft Brexit and what that might mean. This is based on the fact that a group of business leaders have written an open letter to the government today pleading with Theresa May to retain some of our EU trading deals. They said that if we were to default to trading by the World Trade Organization rules, we would leave, that would leave 90% of UK goods trade with the EU subject to new tariffs. They want a soft Brexit, not a hard one. Vincent has tweeted at LBC to say, oh yeah, that's a great plan. Let's just have a swift and reckless Brexit. Hope you've got a good job and a decent income because you're going to need it. And Julia has tweeted to say there is only Brexit. There is no hard or soft. We cannot be in the single market and be out of the EU. It's just nonsense made up by the media. It's not, Julia, we're not. Is because of these business leaders who've got together to plead with the government. Do they know what they're talking about? We should probably listen to them, shouldn't we? 0345 6060 973. Gary is called from St Albans. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Beth. How you doing?
Hi, not bad. What do you want to tell us?
Well, basically, I think it's a bit, where they say, oh, we should listen to these people because they're all, big business, commerce, all these groups that are lobbying for soft Brexit. There's no such thing as soft and hard Brexit. It's Brexit or not Brexit. It's leaving the EU or not, because that's what it comes down to. The fact is, if we do sit there and hit by World Trade Order tariffs, the United Kingdom wouldn't do too bad in terms of trading with the EU. It'd actually be the EU that suffers, and that's what they're scared of, and that's why they're pulling all this palaver left, right and centre of, oh, this is going to happen, your tariffs are going to be this high. I mean, Nigel Farage said in the European Union, when he went back, European Commission, when he went back to the European Parliament, said that it's only going to be sort of around about 3 or 4%, and the UK can deal with that fine, because you've got to understand the tariff goes both ways. Just because they're putting a tariff on us doesn't mean we're not going to put a tariff on them, because we're going to get we're going to try and gain our losses back we can. On that as well, I think when you say about freedom of movement of people, I think it's kind of defunct, really. It's ridiculous. I think we're not saying, by the way, we're going to just stop immigration completely. We're not. What we're doing is we're saying we want quality over quantity. We want to be able to pick, maybe the non-EU student who's going to be a doctor and contribute more so than and I'm not going to say, I'm not going to name a particular country, an EU citizen, maybe
Theresa May,
at the end of the law.
Theresa May ruled that out, Gary, a few weeks ago. She said it's not going to be quality over quantity, because every survey, every analysis census around the world shows that doesn't necessarily reduce immigration numbers. We're not going to have that. That's one of the things she's been very clear about.
No, I know that, and what she's saying is supposed to make it more manageable, but, at the end of the day, you do have a floodgate. Regardless of what anyone wants to say, it is a floodgate. Anybody out of 500 million people can come here with any reason, no reason at all, or whatever the hell they like to do, and we can't do a damn thing about it. That's another issue, but what we're saying is, it doesn't matter. We've got quality coming in. Not a lot of it is real quality.
So just to be clear then, so you're happy that for us to take a financial and economic hit over the next couple of decades, possibly, if it means that we close our doors to immigrants?
No, because like I said to you, we're not here to close the doors to immigrants. We need immigration. It's a good thing for our economy, but when you've got no control over it, it is not a good thing. And, the finance, they've all said that, oh, we're going to have, financial turmoil, this is what's going to happen. I mean, the markets have been up ever since the vote. I mean, the pound has gone down, but we needed that to happen. The pound versus the dollar and the euro was too high. And it's unsustainable. And the proper being on that, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
It's all right.
We've had the highest domestic turnaround of people shopping, buying things, that's all gone up. That's been going up.
Listen, the sky has not fallen in. From an economic point of view, the sky has not fallen in the way that some people were predicting. I totally agree with you on that, but obviously we haven't left yet.
No, exactly.
You know, we've had this dramatic fall in the pound this week, which I know they think it might be down to a computer algorithm error as well, but it's not, can't be completely coincidental that it's when Theresa May, it's been the week of the Tory Party conference in which Theresa May has suggested that she is going to be moving towards this hard Brexit of what we're talking about. But yeah, I'm just wondering so you think basically that all of the economic predictions are way too pessimistic? You don't buy it? You think we're going to be okay?
Well, basically, I'm not saying we're going to be okay, but that's the point. We don't know. You've got these people that are saying, oh, well, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. They do not know. 9 times out of 10, these people that are in these big commerce banks who are giving these reports out are sort of 20, 30 years of age. You know, they were already in the EU when they were born, for goodness sake. They don't know what it's like outside of the EU. So how can they make predictions on something they know nothing about?
All right.
They can sit there and give their best guess, but they don't know, and that's the point here.
Fair enough, Gary. Thank you. Thanks for that. Alex in Rother Heights. Evening, Alex.
Good evening, Beverly.
Hello. Right, talk to me. Which way do we go with Brexit? What do you want to see?
I'd like to talk about this issue you mentioned of single market access. Now, we've got to be clear, and it's something constantly done, particularly by the BBC, to confuse the issue, because I'm sure...
A single market what, Alex? I missed that then. A single market...
Single market access versus membership. What we have at the moment is membership, which means we're subject to all the EU rules, and we have to accept free movement. Access is different. Every country in the world accesses this market, and let's not get confused here. The problem I have is, what's now being proposed by these businesses, by the Romania Act, is the Norway option, which is taking all the single market regulation with no control, no real control of migration, and no influence over these regulations. Now, in the referendum, the Remain campaign said, do you want the Norway option? And the Leave campaign said, no, we do not. The referendum was about immigration and control over our laws versus single market membership and free movement, and the people decided. Through the whole referendum, the Remain campaign's argument was based on single market membership. So by saying, you know, if we're going to stay in the single market now as members, we'll have access whatever happens, but as members, then this isn't proper Brexit. It's industry trying to spearhead the results.
I mean, Norway does make some contributions to the EU budget still, don't they? That they are reduced.
Exactly.
But are we...
Contributions to the EU budget, they have to take a whole swathe of EU legislation that they don't have a vote on. I mean, I think a lot of Brexiters would rather remain than have the Norway option. And no Brexiter was proposing the Norway option.
So you think if that's our option, if it is on the softer scale, if we imagine this as a sort of spectrum of choice as to whether we have duty-free trade in goods or whether we have, if we have to adhere even to EU employment rules or something like that, you've got a spectrum, haven't you, of conditions, and you want to see the harder side of that, Norman. So we'd have no access to the single market. Would you prefer that?
No, we would have access, we wouldn't be members, so we wouldn't be subject to the rules. We would control our own domestic laws. If we're, one thing to bear in mind here, and this is important, is that of our exports, less than half go to the EU, more than half go to the rest of the world. Now, we've got these big businesses saying, you know, oh, we're going to struggle, we're going to suffer. Now, what about the industries that export outside of the EU who have suffered with no trade agreements? What about the fishing industry, which has been completely ruined by EU membership? What about the the workers in industries that have suffered, builders, nurses not getting trained because we're importing nurses from Spain, shop workers, we've seen their wages go down. You know, so just because they're one special interest, it doesn't override that massive democratic mandate that we had in June.
Okay, all right, thank you, Norman. Nicely put. We are discussing whether you want to see a soft or a hard Brexit. This is particularly because this letter has been published today by a group of business leaders, some influential characters on this list, and they are urging the government to maintain trade deals with the EU. What do you want to see? Should we be listening to these people? 0345 6060 973 is the number to ring. You're listening to Bev Turner on LBC, and with the news headlines at 6:30, it's Glenn Thompson.
Donald Trump says there's zero chance of him pulling out of the presidential race after his campaign hit its biggest hurdle so far. He was forced to apologize last night for a 2005 recording of him making objectionable and degrading comments about women. The row within UKIP over a tussle which left an MEP in hospital has intensified. Stephen Wolfe, who collapsed following an altercation with a colleague, says his injuries support his claim that he was punched. And a 21-year-old man has been charged with 2 counts of trespass after climbing a gate at Buckingham Palace. Daniel Sheehan was spotted trying to scale the south gate of the royal residence yesterday afternoon. LBC weather, clear spells and some patchy cloud this evening. A chilly night with lows of 5 degrees.
LBC Travel, good evening, I'm Mark Percy. Well, in southeast London, there are queues on the northbound approach to the Blackwall Tunnel. It's slow from the Woolwich Road flyover after an accident earlier. In southwest London, the A316 is queuing eastbound to the Twickenham Stadium roundabout. That's ahead of tonight's Argentina versus Australia rugby match. Kick-offs at 7:30. In Surrey, the A317 is closed westbound, heading away from the M25 at junction 11 for Chertsey. That's after an accident. There are long delays heading out of Birmingham on the A38M Aston Expressway because of a breakdown approaching Spaghetti Junction, and heading from Dunblane towards Stirling, the M9 is closed southbound at junction 11 after a car overturned. For more real-time travel updates, go to lbc.co.uk. LBC.
Oh, he's very thorough with his checks, isn't he?
A stickler. Soon be on your way. One last big push and we'll have Dave unstuck from your cash footwell.
Oh.
There we go.
Because we know every Nissan inside out, our understanding goes much further. So visit Nissan's used car event from the 7th until the 24th of October, where you could drive away a used 14-plate Qashqai from £13,790, subject to availability at participating dealers. Google Nissan Cared For to find your nearest dealer.
Clean up with this great deal now on at B&Q. The Karcher K2 Compact Home Pressure Washer is down from £98 to just £60. Hurry, offer ends Monday, and B&Q customer advisor Sean says it's one powerful offer.
That's right. Come to B&Q for a great price and great advice.
Some stores excluded. See DIY.com for details.
Hi, Lou. Jump in. Oh, nice ride back in. Liking your new Vauxhall. Good price. It was actually, Lou. Just took it for a test drive and got £500 off straight away. Can you believe it? Right. That explains the tiara. Yes, a bit of bling. Why not? I just jumped in and got more. Oh, I can see that, Bex. I can see that. Jump in and get more at Vauxhall. Our test drive offer gives you an extra £500 off Corsa, Adam, New Astra and other selected models registered by the 18th of December at participating retailers. Exclusions and T's and C's apply.
I'm Jamie Siminoff, and I can show you a smart, affordable way to protect your home from break-ins. My invention, the Ring Video Doorbell, uses an HD camera and motion detection to alert your smartphone when someone steps onto your property. Ring lets you see and speak with visitors from your smartphone, whether you're home or away. The Ring Video Doorbell is a big hit in the US, and now it's available in the UK. Get the Ring Video Doorbell for just £159, or save up to £75 on a Ring of Security bundle at ring.com/radio.
Home Wi-Fi required.
Roll on! The BT Fabulous Fortnight is now on. Ladies and gentlemen, we're offering you an incredible over 60% off unlimited BT broadband and unlimited UK weekend calls. And an amazing 50% off fibre optic unlimited BT Infinity with unlimited UK weekend calls. And you can also get a spectacular double data deal on BT Mobile. But hurry, our Fabulous Fortnight ends 10th of October. Join us today. Visit bt.com/sale to find out more.
BT Mobile 4GB data on 2GB plan only. New customers 12-month contract. You need to pay line rent for BT Broadband and BT Infinity. £7.95 on delivery. Includes calls to UK landlines. Read out before 60 minutes to avoid charges. See bt.com/sale for details. Subject to availability. Terms apply.
If you've ever had to get out of your car at the side of a motorway, you'll know how scary it is. Just imagine what it's like to be a road worker on a motorway. So please drive carefully through roadworks. Observe all signs and speed limits. Stay in the correct lane and keep a safe distance from the car in front. Our road workers are making the roads safe for all of us. So please keep the roads safe for them.
Buy Peugeot approved used. Buy peace of mind. With a comprehensive vehicle inspection and minimum 12 months warranty. During the Peugeot approved used event from the 6th to the 24th of October, you also get a deposit contribution of up to £750 with 8.9% APR representative. Peugeot approved used. Reassurance built in. At participating dealers, terms, conditions, restrictions and excess mileage charges apply. Peugeot Motor Company plc is a credit broker, not a lender, and will only introduce you to Peugeot Financial Services.
Beverly Turner on LBC.